The gaming industry has seen lots of failures. We watch the giants crumble because of bad decisions more than once. The console market isn't any different, but since consoles were usually backed up by multi-billion-dollar corporations, things didn't collapse overnight. It's usually all fell apart step by step through a chain of bad choices. Take Sega as an example. They left a console market after Dreamcast. The system that was actually great. The console that has army of fans even today. But it became the last in its line, all because of mistakes Sega made long before its release. But there's one case, one single day that became the Canon event, which destroyed an entire console brand. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Xbox. But before we dive into that moment, we need a bit of backstory, so you can grasp how big that day was. Back in 2000, PS2 launched, best-selling console in history by the way. Microsoft got worried that it can hurt their software domination, so they decided to make their own console. And that's how the original Xbox was born. It didn't beat PS2, but it didn't have to. Its goal was to build a brand, and it actually did it pretty well, especially in the US. The hardware was really powerful. I mean, on another level compared to PlayStation 2. That's because Microsoft used to sell them at loss. And because of that, it delivered a great visuals and made it possible to port games that PS2 just could not handle, like Doom 3 or Half-Life 2. And yes, I know they worked awful, but trust me, back then no one cared. On top of that, it pushed early online with Xbox Live and had some really good exclusive games. 5 years later, we got a new generation, PlayStation 3 versus Xbox 360. And this time, unironically, Microsoft was on fire. In a good way.
Countdown to Xbox 360, where we are literally counting down to the next generation of gaming. How long have you been lined up for?
Approximately what, 26 hours already? I've been here.
6 hours.
What about the first Xbox 360? Was this a transcendent moment for you?
Oh yes.
Now that you have it, what do you have to do next?
Play it a lot.
Now, don't you have to get back home first?
No, we got a screen in the car. We'll play on the way.
They did almost everything right, while Sony messed up pretty much everything that they could. The Xbox came out a year earlier, offered better visuals than its rival, cost less, and had a strong lineup of games. Sure, it had lots of issues, especially technical ones. More especially I talk about the infamous Red Ring of Death, but Microsoft actually made it right and spent over $1 billion on fixing consoles. That level of effort paid off. By the end of the generation, their market share was almost even. 86 million PS3 and 80 million Xbox 360. Really good, right? Yeah, they were a little bit behind Sony, but the gap was practically gone. And lots of people, especially from the US, remember this generation as generation of Xbox. In situation like that, you have one simple play. Just keep doing the same thing and everything will be great. But no, Microsoft looked at Sony's PS3 mistakes and said, we can do even worse. Then E3 2013 happened. The Canon event that marked the beginning of the end for Xbox as brand. At the beginning, everything was peaceful and looked normal. They revealed a new Xbox One.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Xbox One.
Just a console, nothing special. But right after that, Microsoft started acting really weird. The console would only be sold with Kinect, which used the part of the system's power and performance. It also was always on. Yeah, now people don't care about devices that always spy on them, but back in 2013 it looked really bad. More importantly, this feature made the console $100 more expensive. Then they announced that the console would require a constant internet connection. You know, that happened in 2013, when reliable internet was not even everywhere. Oh right, I almost forgot about the fact that Microsoft straight up banned disc resales. And of course, players were shocked and angry. And to this fairly reasonable feedback from players, one Microsoft exec basically told people to just buy an Xbox 360.
And how it links games and entertainment, the functionality of the box, some of the advantages that you get of having a box that is designed to use an online state. So that, to me, is a future-proof choice, and I think people could have arguably gone the other way if we didn't do it, and fortunately we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360, that's your message if you don't, people don't like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
On top of that, the fact that words TV, sports and Kinect were mentioned more times than actual game discussions made it clear to the players that they weren't exactly the Microsoft's top priority.
TV. Sports. Television. TV. TV. Watch TV. TV remote. TV experience. TV. Sports TV. The experience. TV and movies. TV. Xbox. Watch TV. TV.
Meanwhile, Sony saw this pure disaster and made this short video.
This is how you share your games on PS4. Thanks.
Right after console launch, it turned out that Xbox One was weaker than the PlayStation 4. The gap was around 50%. This means that multi-platform games used to run at 1080p on the PS4, but only at 900p on the Xbox One. All these factors together made the new PlayStation sell way better than Xbox, and gap kept growing every year. The PS4's popularity also meant that big multi-platform titles like FIFA or Call of Duty started collaborating more with Sony over Microsoft. You know, marketing, exclusive beta tests and even DLCs that were available only on PS4. Situations like that made the gap between the two consoles even bigger. To be honest, after that E3, Xbox team was changed and new guys tried to damage control all this mess, especially in the late 2010s. They freed the Xbox from Kinect, made console cheaper, released solid revisions like Xbox One S and even the most powerful console of the generation, Xbox One X. They also worked on backward compatibility and of course introduced Game Pass. But sadly for them, damage was already done. No matter how hard they tried, they were still losing to a competitor that didn't even have to try. It didn't help that Microsoft's marketing team was just weak. Sony were selling to the players a feeling of elitism, like you are part of something great. While Xbox sometimes launched games with almost no marketing at all. While I was writing this text, it happened again with a new game from Double Fine Studios. The problem with Xbox One was bigger than you can think. They messed up in the worst time possible, and the reason of that is called backwards compatibility. It was impossible to play PS3 games on PS4, but this problem was solved between PS4 and PS5, where you was able to play all your PS4 games. Trust me, when you have a huge library of games, you really don't want to leave it behind and switch to another console, where you have to start from scratch. Remember, PS4 audience was over 100 million people. Yeah, later Microsoft made Game Pass, released Xbox Series generation, bought Bethesda and Activision Blizzard, and made lots of other good stuff. But all these events deserve a whole separate video. My point about Microsoft is pretty simple. Even if they executed everything flawlessly back then, replicating triumph of the 360 was simply impossible. They missed the rival's epic fiasco, and that oversight still haunts them even today. In the end, almost every problem that Xbox faced in last decade comes from said huge mess up, and the date of the day that destroyed entire console generation is June 10, 2013.